In 2002, millions of ordinary pennies rolled off the presses of the Denver Mint. They jingled in pockets, slid across counters, and slipped unnoticed into change jars. To most, they were worthless beyond their single cent. But hidden among them, a few hold secrets so shocking, they've commanded values climbing into the hundreds of thousands. Some say even touching the realm of millions. And one of them, right now, has the market buzzing at an eye-watering $666,000. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, could you be holding one of these fortune-making coins without even knowing it? This is not just another coin story. This is a tale of mistakes, tiny, almost invisible minting errors, that transformed a piece of copper-plated zinc into a treasure capable of rewriting someone's financial destiny. But the question is, do you know how to spot one before it slips through your fingers forever? Now, let's rewind. The year is 2002. The US Mint was striking billions of Lincoln cents. On the surface, these coins look ordinary. Abraham Lincoln in profile, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a small D mint mark under the date to show it came from Denver. Nothing unusual until you start looking closer. That's where the story twists. Some of these coins contain what experts call transitional errors. A double die here, a misplaced mint mark there, even the wrong metal composition in rare cases. Errors so subtle that most people never see them. But when the sharp eyes of collectors and graders do, suddenly, a penny that could buy you a stick of gum is commanding more than the price of a luxury home. And here's where the suspense deepens. One particular 2002 D Lincoln cent, riddled with a nearly imperceptible flaw, didn't just catch the attention of collectors. It stunned the entire numismatic community by reaching a staggering market value of $666,000. Think about that. A single cent, less than the dust in your couch cushions, suddenly elevated to the value of a sports car collection or a down payment on a private jet. What kind of error could make that possible? Well, let's lean in closer. One of the most coveted mistakes is a double die obverse, where Lincoln's face, date, or lettering appears slightly doubled from a misalignment in the minting process. Another involves repunched mint marks, where the D from Denver looks stamped twice. To an untrained eye, it might look like nothing more than a smudge. But to a seasoned collector, that tiny flaw screams fortune. Here's the kicker. These errors often go unnoticed for decades. Think about it, how many 2002 pennies have you mindlessly spent or tossed aside in the last 20 years? Each one a potential jackpot, maybe even the very coin that could have rewritten your life. And here's a twist most people never see coming. Not every valuable penny looks pristine. In fact, some of the most valuable error coins are scratched, discolored, even dirty. So if you're imagining only shiny, flawless coins fetching big dollars, think again. Sometimes it's the ugly ducklings that become golden swans. Now, you might be wondering, why haven't you heard of this before? Why doesn't every news outlet shout from the rooftops about million-dollar pennies? The truth is, the numismatic world thrives on secrecy. Collectors guard their knowledge, dealers move silently, and treasures exchange hands behind closed doors. By the time the average person hears about it, the big money has already been made. But today, and that puts you ahead of millions of others still letting rare pennies slip through their fingers. So what should you do? Start with the change in your pocket. Dig into your coin jars, your dresser drawers, the coffee can in the garage. Every 2002 penny deserves a second look. Hold them up to the light. Study the date. Focus on that tiny D mint mark. Do you see doubling? A distortion? A misaligned strike? That small clue could mean the difference between a penny and a windfall. Of course. This is where urgency enters the story. The market for rare coins is hot, but it's volatile. Values swing with demand, and today's $666,000 coin could be tomorrow's million-dollar headline or tomorrow's missed opportunity. The collectors are out there right now, scouring, searching, hunting for the next great discovery. The only question is, will it be you who finds it first? And here's something to remember. Every extraordinary coin that changes a collector's life started as something ordinary, an unnoticed detail, an everyday item hiding in plain sight. Your fortune could be lying in a forgotten penny jar right now, waiting for you to notice it. So tonight, after this video, don't just walk past your spare change. Don't dismiss the pennies in your wallet as trivial, because one of them could be your ticket to a brand new chapter in life. A chapter where wealth arrives not through luck, but through awareness, attention, and the courage to act. Imagine the shock of holding a coin once worth 1 cent and realizing it's now worth enough to buy the home of your dreams. That's not just money, that's transformation. The 2002 Lincoln cent isn't just a coin. It's a reminder that the smallest details can hold the biggest fortunes. And somewhere, perhaps in your pocket right now, history could be waiting. So tell me, when you look at your next penny, will you still see just a cent or the possibility of a lifetime? Imagine pulling out a penny from your pocket, something so ordinary, so forgettable, you don't even think twice about it. But what if I told you that same little copper coin could secretly be worth more than a Lamborghini, more than a mansion, even more than some lottery tickets? That's right. A single 2003 Lincoln 1-cent coin with no mint mark has shocked the collecting world with hidden errors, a mysterious past, and a market value that has soared as high as $661,000. Some experts even whisper that in the right conditions, these coins could climb into the millions. Now, before you laugh this off and toss your spare change back in the jar, listen closely. Because every day, average Americans just like you are cashing in on coins they once thought were worthless. And if you've ever held a 2003 penny in your hand, you might already be holding a tiny fortune. Here's the twist. Not every 2003 penny is valuable. The difference between one worth a single cent and one worth 6 figures comes down to small, hidden details, microscopic flaws, striking errors that the U.S. Mint never intended to release into circulation. And these are so subtle, so deceptive, that millions of people have spent them away without a clue. So let's rewind the story. In 2003, the Lincoln cent was as common as dirt. Over 3.3 billion were struck in Philadelphia alone, and Philadelphia coins, by tradition, carry no mint mark. They look plain, boring, forgettable, but lurking within this ocean of pennies were mistakes. Coins struck off-center, double dies with ghostly second images, planchets that weren't meant for pennies at all, creating rare, wrong metal errors. And it is these mistakes, hidden in plain sight, that transform a coin from pocket change into a prize worth more than a supercar. Now, here's where the suspense deepens. Collectors have reported finds so shocking, they sound like urban legends. A 2003 cent discovered with dramatic doubling in the lettering. Another with a missing layer of its copper coating, exposing a silvery interior. Some struck so off-center, Lincoln's face looks like it's vanishing into the abyss. Each error is like a fingerprint, no two alike, and the rarer, the higher the price. But the crown jewel? A pristine, near-perfect 2003 Lincoln cent with no mint mark that surfaced at auction, hammering down for an eye-watering $661,000. Let that number sink in. A penny that could pay off your mortgage, send your kids to college, or buy you that dream vacation home by the ocean. So ask yourself, how many times have you emptied your pockets and let a coin slip through your fingers without a second thought? How many fortunes have been spent away at gas stations, dropped into vending machines, or left to gather dust in coffee cans? It's enough to make you wonder, could the next life-changing discovery already be sitting in your home, quietly waiting? And here's the kicker. These treasures are almost never found by experts alone. They're discovered by everyday people. A retiree cleaning out a drawer, a young parent rolling coins for the bank, even a teenager checking change after buying a soda. Ordinary moments, leading to extraordinary windfalls. But here's the part most people miss. Condition is everything. A scratched-up, beat-down penny with an error might still bring in a few hundred. But a flawless example, glossy, sharp, untouched by circulation, can leap into 6-figure territory and beyond. That's why collectors use terms like mint state, and uncirculated. These aren't just labels, they're golden tickets. And just when you think the story ends, let me jolt you with one more revelation. Experts warn that the 2003 no mint mark cent isn't just a one-off. They believe more undiscovered error coins are still out there, quietly circulating. Which means right now someone, maybe you, maybe your neighbor, could be walking around with a penny worth a lifetime of financial freedom. So the question becomes, will you let that chance slip away? Or will you start looking at your coins with fresh eyes, scanning every detail, every letter, every curve of Lincoln's face like a treasure hunter on the brink of discovery? Here's the reality. People dream of wealth, but they imagine it arriving through lottery tickets, stock tips, or inheritance. Rare coins rewrite that story. They remind us that sometimes riches hide in the most unassuming places. And in the case of the 2003 Lincoln cent, the difference between a penny and a paycheck big enough to change your life comes down to knowledge, patience, and the willingness to look. So the next time you hear that familiar jingle of change in your pocket, stop. Don't dismiss it, because inside that sound, there might be freedom. There might be fortune. There might be your very own $661,000 miracle. The only question left is this: when you find it, what will you do with your $1,000,000 penny? This isn't a fantasy. This is reality hiding in plain sight, sitting in dressers, coffee cans, and dusty boxes across America. Tonight, we're diving into the mysterious world of the 2004 no mint mark Lincoln cent, the errors it hides, the collectors who fight to own it, and why you might be sitting on a life-changing fortune without even knowing it. Now, before we go further, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Not just glanced, but really inspected it? You'll see Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, the date 2004. But here's the twist. On some of these coins, something's missing. Where you'd normally expect a tiny letter, a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco, there's nothing. No mint mark at all. A ghostly blank space where history says a letter should be. And that's where the story begins. See, mint marks are the fingerprint of a coin. They tell us where it was born, and they add credibility. But when a mint mark is missing, that's no accident. It's an error, and in the coin collecting world, errors are gold. Sometimes literally. The 2004 Lincoln cent with no mint mark is so rare, so bizarre, that collectors will bid to the skies just to own one. And that's why its value has climbed from pocket change to a jaw-dropping six-figure empire. But here's the part that keeps collectors awake at night. Not all no mint mark coins are the same. Some are weak strikes, others are misaligned, and a select few show doubling on Lincoln's face or letters on the coin. Each tiny mistake from the US Mint tells its own story. The rarest errors are like fingerprints of fate, one of a kind, unrepeatable. Imagine finding one of those in your change. You wouldn't just be rich, you'd be part of numismatic history. And the market? It's on fire. One specimen hit $653,000 at auction, stunning experts and drawing headlines. Why such a high price? Because rarity meets desire. There are only so many collectors willing to spend a fortune, but there are millions of Americans hoping they're the ones holding that fortune in their palm. Supply and demand, fueled by a feverish obsession with error coins, is what makes a 1-cent piece climb to the ranks of Ferraris and mansions. But here's where the suspense deepens. Imagine an old coin jar in your attic. You sift through, coin by coin, and suddenly you see it, 2004. No mint mark. Your heart races. Could it be the one? Could this tiny copper disc be your ticket to a different life? The dream home, the freedom to never work another day? Or will it be just another penny? The line between fortune and nothing is razor thin. That's what makes it thrilling and terrifying. Now, you might wonder, how do you even know if you've got the jackpot? Step 1. Always check the date, 2004. Step 2. Look just beneath the date, where the mint mark should sit. If there's no D or S, you've got something intriguing. Step 3. Inspect with a magnifying glass. Are there signs of doubling in the letters Liberty or the date itself? Is Lincoln's eye doubled? Or does his profile look distorted? These are the clues. And here's the kicker, even minor variations can send the value soaring. But let me stop and ask you this. If you found a coin worth $653,000, what would you do? Sell it immediately? Lock it in a safe? Frame it on your wall? It's a funny thought, protecting your fortune in the form of a penny. Yet for serious collectors, that's no joke. They've built empires on coins the rest of us would ignore. And the story doesn't end here. As the coin market grows hotter, fueled by online bidding wars and hungry investors, these rare cents are being hunted like buried treasure. Every estate sale, every garage cleanout, every inherited coin jar becomes a potential gold mine. Right now, more Americans than ever are turning to their coins, searching for the miracle hiding in plain sight. So what's the takeaway? Never underestimate the penny. The 2004 no-mint mark Lincoln cent has proven that fortune favors the curious. For those willing to look closer, to question the ordinary, wealth beyond imagination could be lying right under your nose. And here's the ultimate cliffhanger. Somewhere out there, right now, another no-mint mark 2004 cent is waiting to be found. It hasn't surfaced yet, but when it does, it could rewrite the record books again. Maybe for $700,000. Maybe for $1 million. Maybe more. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, don't just toss your pennies aside. Hold them up to the light. Examine them, because you never know. The key to your financial freedom, your once-in-a-lifetime miracle, could be shining back at you from the most unexpected place of all. A single cent, and if you think this is just about pennies, think again. This is about possibility, about how wealth can hide in the smallest corners, and how ordinary people become legends overnight. The question is simple. Will you be the one to discover it? Or will you let it slip away, unnoticed, worth millions, yet lost forever? Have you ever held a penny in your hand and thought it was worth just 1 cent? What if I told you that a single 2005 Lincoln cent without a mint mark could secretly be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in some cases, rumored to reach into the millions? Before you even consider tossing that coin into the change jar, listen closely. This is not your average penny. This is a coin that hides secrets, errors, and a shocking story that could change someone's financial destiny forever. The year is 2005. Millions of pennies pour from the presses of the United States Mint, each stamped with Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile. Most of them worth exactly what you think, 1 cent. But among those countless coins, a tiny fraction emerged different. They slipped through the cracks, unnoticed by machines, unseen by inspectors, overlooked by the public. And today, those coins without a mint mark, along with rare hidden errors, are shaking up the coin-collecting world with staggering values. Now, let me stop and ask you a question. If 1 penny could secretly buy you a house, a car, or even a retirement fund, wouldn't you want to know if it was sitting in your pocket right now? Collectors have long hunted the elusive no-mint mark Lincoln cents. Typically, coins are stamped with a letter, a D for Denver, or a P for Philadelphia. But in 2005, certain cents left the mint floor without that mark. At first glance, they look ordinary, plain, unremarkable. But take a second look under magnification, and the differences begin to reveal themselves. A missing mint mark, a subtle doubling on the lettering, a faint die clash in Lincoln's image. Each error acts like a fingerprint, signaling that the coin is no longer just pocket change. It's a rarity. And here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Over the years, collectors and investors have competed in fierce bidding wars for these coins. Not because they're shiny, not because they're old, but because they are rare. Scarcity fuels desire, and desire fuels price. What started as 1 cent has transformed into a market value as high as $644,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $644,000 for a coin most people would overlook. Think about the irony. A coin worth less than the cheapest item in a dollar store, suddenly commanding more money than most people make in a decade. It's shocking, it's exhilarating, and it's happening right now in the numismatic world. But here's the question that should be keeping you on the edge of your seat. How do you know if you have one? Because the only thing standing between you and potentially life-changing wealth is awareness. Let's break it down. First, examine the date. You're looking for a 2005 Lincoln cent. Next, look for the mint mark. If there's no P or D beside the date, pause right there. You may already have something valuable. But don't stop. Check for hidden errors, doubling on the words, "In God we trust," or "liberty." Look closely at Lincoln's eye for subtle doubling, or inspect the reverse side for off-center strikes and unusual spacing. Every anomaly could mean another zero added to the coin's value. Now here's where things get suspenseful. Many people who owned these coins had no idea what they were holding. Some spent them, some threw them in drawers, some handed them out as change at gas stations. Imagine the horror of discovering that you casually spent a penny that could have bought you a luxury car. It's happened before, and it will happen again, so ask yourself, how many pennies have passed through your hands in the last month? How many have slipped unnoticed into your pockets, car cup holders, or piggy banks? Could one of them be the key to the financial breakthrough you've been waiting for? And before you dismiss it as unlikely, remember this: rare coins don't announce themselves with flashing lights. They hide in plain sight, waiting for the sharp-eyed collector, the careful observer, the curious individual who dares to look a little closer. This is why people in the know are scrambling to search through their change, their old jars, their inherited collections. They understand that opportunity doesn't always come in the form of a winning lottery ticket or a booming stock. Sometimes it comes in the form of a copper-colored coin sitting quietly in the palm of your hand. But here's the twist. The market is hot right now and values are rising. Collectors are paying premium prices, and competition is fierce. Every day that passes, someone else cashes in while others remain in the dark. And the question is, will you be the one who acts or the one who regrets? Imagine pulling that coin from your drawer, walking into an auction house, and seeing bidders battle over your penny until the final hammer falls at $644,000. Imagine how your life would change in a single moment. The debts you could clear, the dreams you could finally chase, the freedom you could finally feel. So the next time you're tempted to ignore the pennies lying around, don't, because one of them could be the penny that rewrites your future. The 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of hidden wealth. A reminder that life-changing treasures don't always sparkle like gold. They sometimes hide in plain sight, disguised as the most ordinary objects of all. The only question left is this: will you take the time to look, or will you let fortune slip through your fingers, one penny at a time? Tonight, we're unraveling the astonishing story of the 2014 Lincoln 1-cent coin with the D mint mark. A coin so common, you probably walked past it today without a second glance. But what if I told you some of these coins hide errors so rare, so shocking, that collectors have paid more than the price of a luxury home to own them? Think about it. A single coin minted in Denver in 2014, potentially worth more than your retirement savings, more than your mortgage, more than your dream car combined. How is that even possible? Well, that's the mystery we're about to uncover. Now, before you dismiss this as just another coin tale, let me ask you, when was the last time you checked the pennies gathering dust in your drawers, your coin jar, or that old coffee can in the attic? If you've never looked closely, you might be sitting on a hidden treasure without even realizing it. Here's the first twist. The 2014 D penny is not rare in itself. In fact, billions were minted. It's practically everywhere. But within that sea of copper-plated zinc, a tiny fraction slipped through with errors, flaws so minuscule, so overlooked, that the untrained eye would never notice. Yet those imperfections are exactly what transform a worthless cent into a collector's holy grail. Picture this: a doubling in the inscriptions, where the words "In God we trust" or "liberty" appear ghosted, like a shadow of themselves. Or a die crack that snakes across Lincoln's profile, almost like lightning frozen in metal. Some even display misalignments, where Lincoln's bust looks slightly off, almost as if he's stepping out of the frame. These are not accidents. They're minting anomalies, born in the chaos of high-speed production, and they're worth a fortune. Here's where it gets even crazier. A pristine 2014 D-era penny recently hit the auction block and stunned collectors worldwide when it sold for an eye-watering $312,000. Yes, you heard that right. $312,000 for a single penny. And that's not even the ceiling. Experts warn that the rarest specimens, those with extreme doubling or dramatic misprints, could command offers climbing toward the $1 million mark. So why would anyone pay that much for a coin worth 1 cent? The answer is obsession. Coin collectors, numismatists, aren't just buying metal. They're buying history, rarity, and the thrill of owning something almost no one else in the world possesses. For them, it's the same rush as owning a Picasso, a rare Ferrari, or a one-of-a-kind diamond. And when passion meets scarcity, the price skyrockets. But here's the haunting question. How many of these life-changing pennies are still out there? How many are sitting unnoticed in cash registers, change jars, or even in your own pocket right now? Imagine finding one today. What would you do? Pay off your debts? Retire early? Buy that beachfront home you've dreamed about for decades? Suddenly, the future you thought was out of reach is just a coin away. And yet, most people will never look. Most people will toss these pennies aside, convinced they're worthless. That's why the few who take the time to search, the ones who know what to look for, are the ones cashing in. Here's the suspenseful part. Time is not on your side. Every day that passes, more and more of these coins are being discovered, snatched up, graded, and locked away in private collections. The supply is shrinking, and the value of what remains is climbing higher. So how do you spot one? Start with the D mint mark beneath the date. Then, under a magnifying glass, look for doubling, cracks, or misalignments. Don't overlook the edges. The rim sometimes reveals striking flaws. And remember, condition is everything. The shinier, the crisper, the less worn the coin, the greater its potential. It might sound tedious, but think about it. Would you really mind spending a few evenings combing through your old coins if it meant the possibility of finding 6 figures or more hidden in plain sight? And here's a little gut check. Somewhere right now, someone is probably digging through their coin jar, listening to this very story, and discovering the fortune that could have been yours. Because the truth is, these era coins are out there. They're circulating, waiting, whispering their value to those who take the time to notice. Some will ignore the call. Others will act. The only question is, which one are you? So tonight, after this video ends, don't just walk away. Check your coins. Look again. Because the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth might just be resting in the palm of your hand. And when you find it, when you hold that tiny piece of overlooked treasure, you'll realize something powerful. Sometimes the biggest opportunities in life don't come in the form of $1 million check, a winning lottery ticket, or an inheritance. Sometimes they come in the form of a penny. And this time, it's not just any penny. It's the 2014 D Lincoln cent, the coin that could turn 1 cent into a lifetime of freedom.